Well, hello again. What do you say we get back to the radio for a while? I've been doing an awful lot of things around our yard. Once that spring weather hits, boy, I tell you, it's hard to stay out of that yard. There's so many things that need to be done out there. I got a fascia board, I got to paint, probably remove it and put a new one on. We had a leak in our shingle. I had to go up in the roof and up in the attic and find out where it was and get that thing taken care of today. So it's been one thing after another. With the warm weather, I spend a lot of time outside. All right, let's, last time I said I was going to go ahead and put these terminal strips, not that way, but this way. I was going to go ahead and drill some holes and fasten them to the chassis. And, you know, some folks said, well, you know, maybe that's not the best way to do it. Well, you know, maybe it isn't. I don't know. So I decided to take a look at it. I examined it. I looked at it from all angles. One of our subscribers said we could actually take these terminal strips and solder them down in the box and then go ahead and put the capacitors back and forth. Well, that's not such a, on the surface, I told him, I said, look, on the surface that sounds good, but it's not completely practical. I'll tell you why. Look how deep that box is. I mean, trying to get a soldering iron down in there, trying to, you know, think about the poor guy down the road, you know, 20 years from now or 10 years from now, trying to figure out how to get all that stuff out of there. It's much better to have it to where all we have to do is remove the box and complete access is available to every capacitor and both terminal strips, okay? Yeah, that wouldn't have been too bad, I guess, if the box would have been a lot more shallow. Now, I've gone ahead and painted it. I primed it on the inside and primed and painted it silver on the outside. And I've found a couple of grommets. I got several grommets, I guess, in my workbench stock that just fits perfectly right down in that. Look at that. Exactly, almost as if it was made for it, you know. Anyway, what we're going to do now is try to figure out the best way to put these in. Now, is it this way? Like so, with one here and one there with the caps between? Or is it top and bottom? Maybe it'd be better to go top and bottom, you know, with the tabs sticking out, of course. Like so. And then the other one down here. You have to kind of look at this from all angles. One more thing, our good buddy from England over there, Phil, Steel City 321PB, he said when you mount this can on there, however you decide to do it, kind of lift it away from the chassis just a little bit so there's at least some airflow underneath it and through it. I guess the caps, he's concerned that the caps would get warm in an enclosed area. I don't know, you know, but I don't have any problem with that. What's going to happen is we're going to have the can will be mounted on screws just like this right here. Now normally the can tab, that little tab on the end there, normally that tab went underneath the nut. But what we're going to do is mount it on top of the nut and put another nut on top, and that'll give us about 1/8 of an inch clearance. Now it'll be, of course, these holes up here like so, but it'll look like this. Once it's on there, it'll be the nut with the screw, and then of course this will sit on top, and you'll notice we have about 1/8 of an inch clearance down there. Then I'll put the nut on top of it. That'll work fine. Piece of cake on that one. All right, let me back up here a little bit, get a little too close. So what do we do? Well, you know, there's no doubt in my mind we're going to cut more holes in this can. The way they did this originally, they ran all the wires in to one side of the capacitor, and then they ran all the wires back out from the opposite sides of the capacitor, and they had a real tight, globby mess of wires here. We're going to do better. We're going to avoid that. We're going to cut another one of these, maybe even two. We're going to probably do one on this side, maybe even two. I don't know. Let's take a look at our schematic and see what that tells us. Right here is our can dome resistor, the original can dome resistor, which has been changed to this right now. And you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 capacitors associated with that can dome resistor. So that means 4 will come out the original hole right here and go down this way to the can dome resistor. This will go like so with that hole on the bottom. Okay, we'll bring the wires in and bring the wires out and hook them up. Now up here we've got 1, 2, wires, two capacitors associated with the 47 tube, and two capacitors associated with the 24. Now where are they located? Well, the 47's over here and the 24 is here, the second detector. So that means the wires should, now they can come out the bottom of the can, it's not a problem, but I'd like to see them come out the side, okay? So that means we'll have to put a hole on this side, which would enable us to do that, okay? That way we're not jamming up all those wires in there. And the last capacitor is this one right here, which is associated with the first detector. And I think what I'm going to do is just connect a capacitor outside the can for that one right there. That'll be nothing to it. So we've got 1, 2. We got the coil here too. We got to do something about that coil. I'm not exactly certain how to do that. It is associated with the second detector, which again is down here, and it can come out the side, or I could even mount the coil outside the can. I don't know. I'm thinking about maybe putting just the capacitors inside the can and the coil out. That's probably my best bet right now. So we've got 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. And you know, if need be, hey, you know, I'm not shy about this at all. You know, I mean, I'm very flexible. You know, we may have we may have a hole in the can on the bottom. We may have one on the side. We may have one on the top and the other side. I don't care. I can put 4 in if I can make them look nice and neat with the grommets. You know, I have enough grommets, I believe, to put one all the way around, just like that. That'd be kind of neat. That way, it'd give us extra air circulation also, if you know, if it's needed. So let me go ahead and eyeball this. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep working on this until we get those capacitors mounted. So right now, I'm going to skull brain this a little bit longer. We have to kind of be careful because this is a rectangular box. On this side, it fits in nice and easy, okay? But this side, it goes here like that. It kind of scrapes the sides a little bit. Now you don't want to be cutting down. Yeah, I could put this on a sander and sand those ends down a little bit, give me a little bit more clearance. But you got to be careful. You don't want to get down so far that these these metal tabs touch the can. Okay, I can maybe. It's going to have to be gotten just right. So that means I'm going to have to take this can on here and trace it out with a pencil, just like that, all the way around with a pencil. So let me get that done, so I know, kind of what I'm working with here. Well, there's our box all traced out, and you can see I've got this cap. I pretty much got that right in the center when I drew it out in the last video. Not bad. Okay, the one good thing about raising this box off the chassis by 1/8 of an inch, I can put this, I can stick the tab, the mounting tab on this terminal strip outside the box. It'll slide underneath it. Not a problem. I can do that. That's kind of a little bit of a help. It gives us a little bit more room in there. But I know one thing, I'm not going to be able to mount it like this. It just wouldn't give us enough room. You wouldn't be able to get down there to get the screw and nut off if you ever had to remove it without taking all the capacitors off of here. And like I said, we're not going to be mounting it in the box because it's way too deep down in there. Never be able to get down there with a soldering tip, soldering iron. Just wouldn't happen. Anyway, let me see if I can. I'm going to have to bore the holes. Now, I'd like to solder it. Don't get me wrong. I'd like to solder it. But I don't have an iron that's quite hot enough to really handle that. Plus, I don't know. It seems to me a screwing it up with a star washer to give me a good bite for ground might be the best way to go with this. I just don't want to blob it all up with more solder, and I don't know. It just seems to be a much neater way to go. Well, that's it. I have committed myself. I am about to drill the holes. We're going to mount one of the terminal strips here, and the other one's going to be where that dot is. Now, on this particular terminal strip, the tab, the mounting tab, the grounding tab will go this way. Here, I can't do that because I'm hitting this bumpy thing right here that mounts the tuner from the top. There's a rubber grommet that goes down from the top into the hole, and then it mounts up. Anyway, that's the way she's going to be. And as far as the capacitor cover goes, I'm going to cut a hole on this side. This is the way it normally fits in there, just like that. I'm going to cut a capacitor hole, wire hole here. I'm going to cut one on the top. And even if we don't use them, I'm going to put a nice, really neat grommet in there. It'll look cool. It'll look pretty nice. Now, the idea here now is to be able to cut the hole neatly. So the next time you see this, I'll have the holes drilled. I was hoping to have it done before now, but here and here. But you know, outside activities in the spring took up a lot of my time. Plus, I've got that old guy up there in Oregon. There, what's his name? Old Buzz. Yeah, old Buzz. He's kind of pumping himself up there for what he thinks is going to be another potato victory. Poor fella. I feel so bad for him. Anyway, that's right. I have sucked him in. He has been sucked in. Trust me. There'll be a video coming out on that pretty soon too. So anyway, let me go ahead and finish this up and get the holes drilled, get the metal cut away with my moto tool here and there. And hopefully, like I said, I wanted to have it done before now, but hopefully next time I'll have the two mounted and we'll start putting those caps on. Anyway, sorry it took so long between videos, but you may even experience it again. I've got a lot of other things to do yet. Until next time, this is John. Oh yeah, well I did forget it this time. I just happened to notice it. I was getting ready to wrap things up. The board is put together. It's kind of a crude kind of arrangement, but I didn't want anything on the bottom. I wanted it all on the top. And I didn't want everything scrunched down into one corner trying to fit it all in. So I used the entire perf board. And there it is. And we're going to show you what this is in a future video. But it is now complete. I've got all the wires held down with hot glue so it doesn't fall off. Everything's fine.